So I was walking this afternoon actually about the close and around the area, and I was kind of thinking about abundance. So um, abundance is basically everywhere you go, and it's something that I've never been really taught to look at before, but it is. I mean, you look at the abundance of plants and birds and grass and houses and Christmas trees at the moment, hence the Christmas jumper, in people's windows, and the abundance of wrapping paper in people's bins, and the abundance of pavements and roads to get us to where we need to go to, and cars, absolute abundance of cars, and abundance of space for us to be able to see the sky where I am. Just a lot of abundance of fences, hedges, plants in people's gardens. A lot going on. When you actually add it all up, it was quite staggering. But something I did notice is that I feel that there has been a lack of abundance in things that we can't see. So this year, for example, I have not even sent my neighbours a Christmas card. Well, I've sent one of them a Christmas card, but not the other, because I just didn't have the heart to do it. And as we know, it's now 2022. For those of you who are watching, you might be watching in another year even. But it's just come to 2022. It's actually the 1st of January 2022 as I speak. And obviously last year was coronavirus year, and the year before that was coronavirus year, and I think it's still going to be coronavirus year. And I think that one thing I really realised is that there has been a lack of abundance of love. There has been a lack of abundance of love. And I mean that in the nicest way. So for some people, Corona has been a wonderful kind of wake-up call, because we've realised that there's been a lack of stability in jobs, and that we've been sacrificing our family for our jobs, and actually it's our families that are the most important thing. And I feel that certain people have really made an effort to make contact, especially with elderly relatives, to just check upon them a bit more. And some communities I do feel have really come together. I'm very lucky at the moment. I'm part of a little church group. I'm not a Christian in any way. I wouldn't even say I was spiritual. But it's made up of some colleagues that I used to kind of work with in the same National Trust property actually, and they have come together over coronavirus and felt the real need to kind of connect, and the importance of love and the importance of sharing, especially against this kind of fear and not knowing what's going to happen. When we started off, of course, we didn't even know that there could be a vaccine. It was just, this virus that is kind of ripping through countries, and people are kind of just either getting on and having a bit of a sniffly cold kind of thing, or they're dropping like flies. And a lot of, as I say, just not knowing. But this has really kind of troubled me. And as I was walking along, and I was actually looking at the cars. So one of my goals for this year is to get a new car, and I'm kind of looking at the car and asking myself, is that what I really want, and why do I really want this car? And it's a Citroen DS3 basically. I have a beautiful little Citroen C1 now, but it's kind of the next thing up, and I want a yellow one, because I think it's funky and it's cool, and I want a more reliable car. But cool though it is, I've heard that the back space is not great, and I've been going, do I really want to buy a car if I'm gonna hopefully be a better resource for my family and drive them around more? Do I really want to buy a car that's going to be cramped in the back, where if I do have a car crash and the people in the front don't move, they're not going to be able to get out because, there's no back doors. You have to get out by pushing the front seats back and going through that way. And that was really interesting because I haven't been connecting to that goal and I've been kind of wondering why. And at the minute I work from home anyway, so I don't drive a lot. So I'm kind of thinking, is that what I really want? And I was thinking about this thing of love, because I watched actually a review of this car just to double check that my goals were right. And the woman said, oh, it's probably a car that you're going to buy more with your heart than anything else. And I was like, interesting. And as I say, and as I was walking along, I realised that we've not been very neighbourly this year, I don't think. And I have certainly learned in the past couple of years to be a lot more selfish. And in a way that has served me. I've had they call it emotional impact, where something happens very suddenly and you kind of have a wake-up call, and it can serve you or it might not. Usually it is negative. So I've had a couple of people, one who I felt let me down very, very badly, and a second one who also let me down badly, and let me down financially as well. And that's a totally different story. Anyway, I have really struggled to feel the emotion of kind of love. I feel that the person that let me down was someone who was meant to basically be there for me, and I feel that they lied basically about who they were for a long time. And that was a bit of a wake-up call, let's just say. It was a very strong emotional impact. And I've learned kind of not to love because basically it's going to really hurt. And I think that there might be a lot of people going around the world kind of almost afraid of feeling this. And I'm almost at a point where I can't remember what that feels like. Like, I can't remember what that is. And it's very, very interesting. And of course, love goes up and down. I mean, you love with your partner, say, you're not going to feel like you're magically in love for the whole day, I'm sure. This is just not realistic. We're humans, we go through phases of energy up and down with the flow. And of course we're going to have Barneys and arguments with them because we are still two separate people. Just because we're a couple or we're a partnership or we're a team or a family doesn't mean that we're not all individuals and we're always going to agree on everything. Another thing that really struck me was I was around two family members for Christmas, and I realised just how much I struggle to connect with family. Really, really struggle to connect on an emotional level. I don't know whether that's partly because of Corona, because we haven't really seen each other. I haven't spoken to my cousins in years now, if I'm totally honest with you. And it doesn't bother me. It's going to sound really awful. And I don't know whether that's because of kids. We were never close. We might maybe have seen each other once a year. You can't build a relationship on seeing people once a year, especially with children. Just not the way that it works. And it's really just struck me that that's how I've been kind of for the past few years. And as I looked at this, I was like, am I a good expression of love for my family? And then I was like, am I a good expression of love for me? Like, have I really been loving towards myself in 2021? What did I do with an act of love? What did I do that I did for the right reasons, the heart reasons rather than the head reasons? What did I do for my integrity and my kind of sense of that's the right thing? And I couldn't really think of anything, which is a bit sad. There's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, with academic achievements down their arm this year, some of which might have been a little bit maybe affected by the scoring system in schools. I'm not going to go into that, but just because you're successful doesn't mean that you're actually successful. And I've just learnt that, because if you don't do it with love, then it's an empty space. It's an empty space. And I think that there's certain things in my life that I have done with love that I have absolutely enjoyed so much, and I would do over again, because although I didn't get a certificate, I made me proud of me, or I accomplished something that was challenging for me. And yeah, I just think there needs to be more of this in life. Like, if I'm gonna really move with ease and flow, and if you're really gonna move with ease and flow and get to something that you want to get to, you do have to love it. And this is not, maybe again, a very popular thing in our culture. I don't know. We Brits are not particularly good at expressing love, are we? We're not like passionate, like, the stereotypical Italians. How you see them, like, very, very expressive with their emotions, in the kind of stereotypical thing. But I do feel that it's a very fine balance to be emotional and expressive and yet grounded. You don't want to be one of these people who's like, I love this and I love that and I love this puppy, isn't it so cute? Those kind of people, they're great, but you also want to have depth as well, as I think is what I was going to say. So I've just really, really learnt that just on a reflection there, and I just want to again just share it because it might help somebody out there. I really, really hope it does. Acting with love is, as I have experienced, opening yourself up to a lot of potential hurt and damage, especially from people who don't have that in their heart, for whatever reason. And I think that we have to be, or definitely I have to be, in a better expression of love, not just for other people, but also for myself. I mean, let's be honest with you. I was sat there thinking, if I really, really loved myself, I would definitely go for what I want this year. Without a shadow of a doubt, I wouldn't even question it. I'd be like, do you know what? You're worth it. Definitely 100%. I absolutely, love you. I think you're worth it. I'm going to stand beside you. I'm going to be my own number one cheerleader. And the other thing that has really hit me on that, and I also just want to share before I go, is, again, I've been with family over the Christmas period. Now, I have learned this past year that my family, much so I love them, and much as I'm sure they love me very deep down, we're not always very good at cheerleading each other. We're very kind of rational. In my kind of environment, I think, if I mean, I've been toying with kind of giving up my job this year to do something that I think I'd really like to do, but I'm not quite sure of yet. Well, if I really, really, really loved what I was doing, and I also really loved me as well, if I did it for the people I want to do it for, and I did it for me as well, I would absolutely go for it. Let's be honest with you. But and I come from a kind of family, like, I'm a very middle class family, so you know how the middle class is. And I know I keep going on about the middle class, but there is such thing, and there is definitely a certain way of thinking that I have come across. Just look on alux.com, being middle class. Oh my gosh, it has got it to a T. And one of the things about being middle class is you're kind of frightened of losing your job. It's like, if you lose your job, it's like all hell breaks loose in your mind, and you're like, oh, I've got to get another job ASAP, and it's got to be the same kind of thing, because that's, like, death is coming, the grim reaper is going to turn up at the door. Even though as a middle class you've probably saved money to put on the side so that you're not going to actually die, and you don't need to, I don't know, pay the ground rent for your mansion because you're middle class and you don't have a mansion. And this is not just for middle class people, by the way, but I have observed it within myself. I make me laugh in the way that I think, and it's funny how I picked up these things. I definitely come from a family who is like, oh, do not give up your job. They, particularly one side of my family has a definite experience that it is better definitely to do something you absolutely hate and have security. And for me, that is just a nuts way of thinking, and yet it's very easy to absorb. Be careful. So yeah, I need to be a better expression of love for me, and then I can radiate it out to other people. And as I say, just want to share that. It might help somebody, it might not. And it's got nothing to do with prestige. It's got nothing to do with money. As my mentor pointed out to me, you can't love money. It's dirty, and it's what you do with it that's important. So yeah, just wanted to share that. I hope it helps. Cheers, guys. Bye.